You ready for the video?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Let's start. Yeah,
Oh.
awesome. Presence. Now let's do one together. What is vibing? This is Vish and
This is Ashwin Mata.
today we'll be responding to Sadhguru's video on
The only solution to climate change.
do you ever find yourself stressed, anxious, or nervous? Well, that used to be me all the time, and then I found meditation. And now I've got over hundreds of people on their journeys, and I'll soon be coming out with the meditation products, so stay tuned for that. And so today, I'm here with Ashwin. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, yeah, thanks Vish. So thanks for having me here. My name is Ashwin Mata. I'm from IIT Mumbai. I grew up in Mumbai all my life, and after my bachelor's in electrical engineering, I came to the United States for my master's, and I've been working since then. I've been mostly in Austin since the last 27, 28 years, so almost like a native Austinite right now.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. And with that, Sadhguru is a yogi, mystic, and visionary who's truly enlightening the world.
Sure, let's get into the video, yeah.
Pranam Sadhguru. My name is Kapildev Behel. Okay. In our quest for a better life, growth and quality of life, human beings are depleting natural resources. We hear of younger generation blaming this generation for dwindling the planet of ecology, environment. Do you believe that human beings are heading towards water wars and disaster before we come out from the brink, or do you have faith in human ingenuity?
This is… see, we must understand this. We are talking about all kinds of things. Right now, they're negotiating hard in Paris, where India and the other countries, which are called as the basic countries, which essentially, this is an idea that we've been talking about for the last 20 years. I've been speaking about this at various forums, saying that let's talk per capita division of consumption and carbon footprint. If we do that, in India we hardly have a footprint because most people are living in shacks, they're not consuming really anything, they're not leaving a carbon footprint. If the man disappears tomorrow, he's not left a footprint, all right? But they want a different kind of thing. This is a deal which has to be hard negotiated, that's happening. Leaving this aside, what you're trying to ultimately do is to curtail human aspiration. You will not succeed, believe me. There are people I know in California homes, earlier they were driving Prius, now they're all into Tesla, but in their garage they got 2 Ferraris or they got a big SUV, okay? This is when they go to the office, when they go to social gatherings, they want to be seen in an electric car. When they go out with the family, they want to ram a 6-cylinder car, all right? So I'm saying you cannot curtail human aspirations. The best thing is to curtail human populations. At the beginning of 20th century, we were 1.6 billion people. Today, we are 7.2 billion people. In India, in 1947, we were 33 million people. Today, we are 1.2 or 1.25 billion people. So, 3 times, 4 times we've multiplied. We are nice, but we're too many. We need to understand this. There is only that much human life that the planet can sustain. And above all, because of technological prowess that we have today, we are consuming probably what 10,000 men would consume 1,000 years ago. One man, I'm saying. One human being is consuming what 10,000 human beings would consume 1,000 years ago. So when this is the case, the simplest thing is we must project or plan for a less population in the future. But right now, United Nations predicts that by 2050, we will be 9.6 billion people. By 2075, we'll be 12.1 billion people. I want you to just imagine your life on this planet. You and me may not be here, but if this projection becomes a reality, our children and their children do what you want, they cannot live well. But anyway, If we do not consciously control this, nature will do it to us in a cruel way. It's not that we will be allowed to simply spawn like this, something will happen, all right? Something will happen that we don't know how to handle, and cruel ways of things will happen. But the very pride of being human is, we can do what we want consciously. It is something we need to take up, every world leader has to take this up. The leadership on the planet, in this Paris meetings of going on talking about how much will you consume, how much will I consume, what do you have to do, why don't we say by 2050, we will be 4 billion, not 9.6 billion? Why not? All you have to do is, that you should not reproduce. People are talking about the economic dividend of having a young population. Definitely it is true, right now we have to take advantage of that. But this was a few years ago in 2006, when we were at Davos, there were a whole lot of union ministers and others, they were all gloating, we are the youngest nation, we are the youngest nation. I asked a simple question, where are the old people? They said, no, we are the youngest, that is okay, but where are the old people? In India, people don't get old, they die soon. That is why we are the youngest nation, you better know that. We can take advantage of the situation now, but we can't gloat about it. It's not something that we created, it is something that's unfortunately happened to us. Because in 1947, the average life expectancy of an Indian was 28 years. Today it's come to 64, that's average, but I'm telling you, if you divide urban and rural, urban may be around 70, rural is around 50. 50 is not a time to die for a man.
Wow, that was a beautiful video and very insightful. What'd you think?
Yeah, it's definitely a very insightful video, because not many people have the courage to say out loud that we are way too many people for this planet.
Yes, most definitely, I agree. And it's interesting because I feel like a lot of people, when they're talking about population control, at least in today's day and age, view it as a very negative thing. At least for the people I've come across, and that doesn't mean that you're trying to eliminate people, right? Mm-hmm. It just means, as he says, to be conscious about reproduction, for instance.
Correct.
And I'm curious, I mean, you've come from an Indian background. Is there anything else that you could connect with from what he said?
Yeah, definitely can connect with a lot, because in the long time ago, when the life expectancy of Indians was not as high, people did want to have, especially the people who were in the farmlands, they wanted to have more children because they wanted to have more hands, who could earn their living, basically generate revenue for their household. Things have changed right now. First of all, there's a lot of mechanization happening of farming. There's a lot of health improvements going on. We don't necessarily need that many. But then at the same time, right, as Sadhguru mentioned, that the footprint of an average person there is so small that it's really not fair to kind of just point only to that as a reason. I think we need this awareness throughout the world, even in countries which are very well off, not just only in countries which are poor.
Ah, interesting. So I think from what you're saying, I think what I just realized from what Sadhguru said, if we're to point at, let's say, higher population countries, there needs to be a distinction between India and China, right, for instance, because it seems like the average man carbon footprint is definitely very low for an Indian, for instance, versus, let's just say, someone from California, as he says, with all these big vehicles and using all of these types of essentially non-renewable energy sources. It's just not efficient, and it leads to, in a way, exploitation of the planet, right?
And moreover, as the countries like India and China, as the middle class grows, more educated, they're earning more income, they want to start adopting the similar type of lifestyle that the Western countries have.
Yes. And
if that even gets close to happening, then again the consumption of resources would be tremendous. So that's certainly a problem. The earth cannot sustain that many people who can consume that level of resources. And the penalty is that the rest of the animal kingdom, if you see forests being destroyed because people want to build more homes or more farmlands, and that's causing major imbalance on the overall earth, right? How the rest of the species is suffering because of that.
Most definitely. And I'm curious, so it seems like the main solution, as of now from what he said, was population control. Are there any other maybe methods or maybe suggestions that you think about in terms of helping with that for the planet?
Oh, definitely. I mean, we've got to move away from carbon-based fuels as fast as possible. I mean, anything to do with generation of whether it's electricity or for vehicles, we need to make sure that we move to more renewable resources. So that's like almost a given. At the same time, we also need to be conscious about consumerism, because one thing that I was very struck by when I first came to the United States from India, especially even though I came from a very good city, like I lived in Mumbai, was just the sheer amount of choices and the sheer amount of things which were out here. If you go to an average supermarket, do we really need that level of consumerism, right? I mean, to really improve the quality of life. So that's something we need to look at, more carefully, whether that will make our lives better, really. I mean, maybe not.
Interesting. No, I think that's very interesting. And it's something I've also learned and realized from Sadhguru himself, which is, as he said in this video, we have all these resources and opportunities, almost like an overabundance, right? Yet at the same time, I forget the exact statistic and number, but there's essentially more food available than even people that need the food. Yet at the same time, people are starving, right?
Yes.
Which just further goes to show the level of consciousness that we unfortunately are at, overall, at least the world's population, and that we're not providing at least an equal opportunity for people to eat.
Yeah. So the inequitable distribution of resources, be it food, be it land. I mean, there's not a whole lot you can do about land, but certainly food, we can try to balance it out. So the entire world's population. And now we are seeing similar things with vaccines, right? The rich countries have it. Like here in the US, we are doing extremely good progress on vaccination, which is great. But we can't say the same about some of the other countries, especially in the third world areas. They are not going to be there for maybe another 2 or 3 or 5 years.
Yes, exactly. And it's very simple, at least from what I've just come to realize very recently, which is all about being conscious with what you're doing. It can be as simple as brushing your teeth. It can be showering. It could be doing the dishes. Just being present with everything that you do and giving the full involvement, as Sadhguru says, will naturally yield for you to not even need to spend extra, let's say, water, for instance, while brushing the teeth. Maybe I've seen lots of others, and when I was younger, I would just let the water run when brushing. Such a small thing, but small things like that, when you really learn to enhance the consciousness, whether it's through meditation or any other practice, you will naturally have these problems solved. And I think the same thing applies in a way to a very beautiful thing he's mentioned, which is if you were wanting to, let's just say, get a very healthy and plentiful of fruit plants, right? Very simply just focus on the soil, the water, and the sunlight, and naturally the fruits will yield. Don't even think about the end result. So I think the same thing applies to, for instance, the success of the planet, right? Don't worry too much about those end products. Look at the ingredients, and then naturally everything else will fall into place.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Thank you so much for watching, and I appreciate you for being in this video. If you have any other video requests, you can comment down below. With that, make it a great day, take it joyfully, and stay conscious. Thank you so much for being in the video.
Thank you, Vish.
Great.
Yeah.